Hi everybody, I hope you're well. Thank you for getting here on time, and the purpose of tonight's webinar is making sure that you adopt the best strategy so you can pass SBL first time. That's what we're here to do. How we're going to pass it. In terms of what I'm going to look at, I'm going to have a look at why SBL is very, very different from other strategic professional papers. It really is, and in order for you to do well, there is an approach you need to take which is very different to an approach you might take for tax or for SBR or for AFM. A lot of people have asked me questions about, should I do the exam in September or should I do it in December? I will answer that question for you. Some people have also asked about what changed in September 2023. Well, I can help you with that as well quickly. And then probably most importantly, the people that are successful with me on SBL courses, what do they look like? What do they do? How do they approach it? And I will share all of that with you. And we ask questions as you go in the chat box, but hopefully from some of the questions I've had pre-webinar, that's what we need to know. So let's talk about, first of all, strategic business leader and what it is all about. Well, this isn't my opinion. This is the opinion of the examining team, and they say that it is a substantially integrated exam, which is set in the context of you being a strategic leader. Yep. And it's basically been introduced to give students skills that employees want from their qualified accountants. So it's going to make them much better prepared for the workplace, and it's a practical exam where you do role play and basically show what you look like in work. Because we'll talk about why it's been introduced in a moment, but that will probably help you. So if we talk about why has it been introduced, well, for pretty sound reasons really. It's been introduced because the workplace is quite a different place. Yeah, there's a lot of change, and as a result of that change, a lot of new capabilities and competencies are needed. This has been driven by mainly the fact that the workplace, a lot of the technical stuff that we learn on tax is all done by bots. Yep. And what we need to be adding value going forward is to maybe give some insight into those calculations that bots have done. Yeah. And be able to structure the way in which we communicate to be appropriate to the audiences. So all these skills are looked at in a practical and business relevant way on your SBL paper. Yep. In terms of what it's going to look at from a syllabus perspective, this is a broad overview. We don't drill down into lots of academic detail. We keep it high on leadership, governance, strategy. We look at risk, but again, you're going to be looking at how those risks might manifest themselves, how we might mitigate them. Lots on technology. Technology is forever evolving, so we continually update that with the latest articles. Control and audit, obviously important. Finance, but not technical, like financial accounting. Maybe understanding the kind of top level movements in finance. And then stuff that's happening in terms of innovation, change management, all of that will also come in. And those red boxes you have there on the screen are all to do with the professional skills marks, which 20% of the exam are included. Yep. So the exam itself, you get a pre-scene, you get more material in the exam. It's 3 hours, 15 minutes. You've got 195 minutes. You've got 20 professional skills marks, as I've just said. You only need 50 to pass. And all of the questions will be based on the same scenario. So that is your exam, and it's not about regurgitation of academic theory. It's kind of a combination of demonstrating an understanding of that theory, but applying it in a professional workplace way. What will you get in the exam? Well, you get the pre-C material, and then on the day of the exam, you'll get more exhibits which give a bit more of a picture of what's going on. You will be given 3 tasks that you need to complete, and you will be given a fresh version of the pre-C material, because obviously you can't bring your own scribbled one into the exam. Okay, what kind of things are you going to need to have familiarity with? Well, you might have to, write an email, a report, slides, briefing notes, a press release. All these have been asked in previous SBL papers. You will be in exhibits provided information in the format of maybe a website, a risk register, a newspaper article. All of these just to kind of represent how it would be in real life. So how is SBL different? I would say the key difference is the rationale on which the paper is based. Yeah, and as we've said, it's about applying your knowledge in a leadership context. Yeah, and also there is a need, as well as thinking about the workplace, think about who you're talking to, think about how you structure your arguments, and that will be a demonstration of what's described as professionalism. So you're showing skepticism, you're showing good communication skills, good evaluation skills. And if you just learn theory, you won't pass. Okay, so please, some people come to me, they might have failed SBL a couple of times. They took the same approach as they took for tax. Sadly, it doesn't work. The same approach you took for SBR, sadly, it doesn't work. Yep, it's a bit, I always say it's like learning to drive a car, and you wouldn't pass your driving test by reading lots of books on driving. You would get in there and practice. Yep, so what you should do in this area is have a look at my articles on exam prep. If you put my name into student accountant, ACCA student accountant, you'll get lots of articles I've written for them. So have a look at that. What else? Well, make sure you keep aware of ACCA resources, such as the Insights app that they have, having a look at the Accounting and Business magazine. They're all really useful to give you a big picture behind the SBL syllabus. In terms of other reports that are really useful, there's lots of things on IT, lots of things on the future of finance and how it's changing and the skills that we need. So again, there's not one specific one you look at. Lots of good ones on IT. Have a good knowledge of them. The other thing that I think is really useful is make sure you have a look at the Ethics and Professional Skills module. If you haven't done it, I'd suggest do it alongside your SBL studies. You have to do it anyway to qualify, and it's actually quite useful for your SBL exam. So make sure you do that. What else? Well, the other question I got, should you take it in September or December 2024? Because you don't have to acquire lots and lots of technical knowledge, I think if you're starting, within a few weeks of the last exam, I mean, maybe take a week off chilling, but I would be thinking about starting soonish because it's very doable. And, I would personally want to get my exams out of the way as soon as possible. Yeah, start earning a proper accounting wage. So how do I get them out of the way as soon as possible? Well, you probably employ someone to help you study and take the exams as soon as you can. Yep, so you can double or triple your salary as soon as you can. Okay, so it's very doable. However, if you're planning on going on holiday for the whole of August, yeah, maybe think about December. But I'd say it is really doable in December if you are being helped with a proper, structured approach and course. So hopefully that answers that question. What happened in September 2023? Well, some of you might be aware of that. So there is a YouTube video on what happened and how it changed. I mean, basically, the exam used to be 4 hours with about 16 pages to digest and understand. Now that has been reduced to 3¼ with about half the pages given in advance and maybe half given in the exam. Okay, so that's what happened. But have a look at my video on that, summarising it all. Most importantly, though, probably the best advice of the evening would be, what do successful SBL students look like? How do they behave? What do they do? And this is something you need to replicate if you too want to be successful. So they're personally motivated. Do you have a reason why you are doing this exam? And it has to be more than, I want to be an accountant. Yeah, maybe it's something about money. Maybe it's about, I had a student last time from South Africa. She'd left South Africa. She was in the UK, thought the weather in the UK was a bit rubbish after having lived in South Africa. So she was making sure she qualified and was going to Australia with a qualification to earn plenty of money and live a lifestyle in the sunshine. So I'm sure she'll do fantastic because she was very clear on why she was doing things. So find your why. So people who pass are also very organised in their life, not just in their studying. So, reflect on how organised are you? Yeah. If we are organised and we set a set time of when we study, what happens is that set time becomes a routine and we don't really need any willpower to do it. We just do it. Yeah. We just do it. And that's the easiest approach to study. Regular, little bit and often, slow and steady runs the race. An analogy I might use would be if you were preparing for a marathon, you wouldn't do loads of running 2 weeks before the race. You would, do it over a period of time. It would just become normal to go for a certain length of run. And also when studying and being organised, think about your work environment. I think there's a psychological trick. If you go and study at the same desk every day, that sends a psychological message to your brain. It's time for study. Yeah. So that's important to think about your work environment and just think about just lifestyle in general. Maybe, think about diet, think about sleep. If you're getting a bit stressed, think about maybe enrolling on getting a mindfulness app. All of this is going to help you perform better in your exam. Yeah. And yeah, that would be the key things that they do. The other thing they do would be, don't listen to people on Facebook or whatever. They would listen to people maybe on YouTube if they were ACCA approved. So there is an ACCA YouTube channel. I run courses that are ACCA Platinum, which is the highest approval rating you can get. But just be careful of listening to all of the people on Facebook who I've never heard of. So think about resources. What else? Well, in terms of my ability to say this, why am I different to people on Facebook who tell you what's going to come up on the exam? Well, I've been doing it for quite a long time. I've been nominated for the UK Lecturer of the Year 3 times. I won it in 2020. I work as an expert tutor, guru for the ACCA. Some people say they're gurus, but just try and find a video of theirs on the ACCA website or YouTube channel. You'll find lots of mine. You won't find any of a lot of people who call themselves gurus. And as I say, I run ACCA Platinum approved courses. So hopefully that gives you a bit of confidence. And I just say be careful of those exports online. Some of them have a nice website. Is that the only thing that's credible? And I think they often spout a lot of fake news. If you want to get in contact with me, this is a link tree. So we've got podcasts, we've got my website, we've got my LinkedIn, got my WhatsApp number, got my email. All of it is able to be found through that link. So please, if you've got any questions after this, please let me know. Now, I had a little bit of a chat before I started the recording with some questions, and I've added a couple of things on. Questions, do I do it in September or December? I think that depends if you're going on a long holiday in August. If you're not, it's definitely doable. And I would personally favour September, because if you did do an exam in June, you'll still be in kind of the habit, and you don't want to break that habit till you finish the exams. So that's important. That was a question that came through. What does a course? Okay, bear with me 1 second. Someone's just asked, what does a platinum course include? Let me try and open a slide on that. Okay, here we go. So a platinum course, what does it include? A platinum course is the one I offer, over 90 professionally recorded videos. So these tend to be debriefs of past examinations. They tend to be summations of things you need for the syllabus, those kind of things. They tend to include maybe some mind maps and lots of articles which are relevant as well. You'll get 8 marked homeworks, which don't just be marked. They'll have lots of feedback, and they'll mark by ACCA markers, not kind of just any old markers. People who will mark your mocks will also be ACCA SBL markers. Because I've worked with the ACCA for many years, I know who all the markers are. So they do it, but they don't just mark it and give you a score, which is useful. But what is far more useful is the detailed comments they leave on your script, telling you where you're doing well and where you need to improve. And over time, it's an iterative process. You get better and better and better. So a lot of students come out of the exam saying, "Oh, that was fine. I've never come out of an exam feeling so good." And basically that's because they put the work in before they were in the exam. They made all the mistakes before the exam rather than in the exam. So that's really important you do that. If you've got any queries on anything, so you might be watching a video, you've got a question, what's that mean? Yeah, and I get back to you straight away. Unless I'm sleeping, but yeah, I'll get back to you always quickly. And if you do all the homeworks, if you do all the mocks, well, you're going to pass the exam. I'm so confident that you will, that you can do it all again for free if you just had some bad day in the exam room. So that's what the platinum course includes. I think in terms of what does the mocks work, I do have a slide on mocks as well. Just bear with me. So how do mocks work? Here we go. Here's another slide. How do mocks work? Well, as I've said, I think the key things about my mocks is that I do them on, I can't quite remember what this slide. So 3 never seen before mocks. I will use the pre-seen material of September, and I will use the pre-seen material of December, and then we have like video debrief of that pre-seen, so you get an awful lot of exposure on the pre-seen before the exam, which I think is really useful. But they're done on the ACCA CBE platform, which maybe not the most user-friendly platform in the world, and I know a lot of other providers choose not to do it, and they do things on other software, on Word and on Excel, but your exam is not on Word or Excel or on another platform. Your exam is on the ACCA CBE platform. So that's why I do it. If you're taking your driving test in a car, I wouldn't practice on a motorbike. I'd practice in a car. So that's why I use the CBE platform. And again, lots and lots of feedback and comments by markers. And at the end of it, as well as giving you feedback, I'll give you a full video debrief which says you could have gone down that road, but if you'd gone down that road, that would have been okay also. Okay, and I'll also give some realistic answers to those questions. ACCA, be aware, give answers which have a tuition kind of emphasis. They're not an expectation of what a student can deliver, but my answers are an expectation of what students could deliver. So yeah, remember that. That's also important. And I also give a full Zoom debrief to each of those videos. I think I said that in the previous slide. So in terms of if you have any issues on the course, how are you able to contact me? Well, I've given you all the details on that previous slide on Linktree, but I give 24/7 WhatsApp support, and if you speak to students who've been on the course, you'll say you get that right up to the exam. Yeah, we have Zoom post-mock group chats where you can learn from other students what they did well and what they didn't do so well, and as well as personal WhatsApp support, I've also set up like a study buddy group for all the students on the course who can share issues they have together as students, and I tend to keep out of that one. So that's what you will get on the course. My advice would be the exam is just getting closer. So the sooner you start, the better. So if you're thinking of doing a course in September, take action, get these exams out of the way as soon as you possibly can. As a quick reminder, if you want to contact me about anything, you can find all my contact details and other resources, which are all free, on the Linktree site. Thank you for listening. Any questions, just ask me. But remember, the exam is only getting closer. Good night. All the best.